Dear friend, I don't think anyone ever tells you when the pressure years begin. There is no announcement, no clear moment. They just quietly settle into your life. 8 years ago, I left the city and moved to a small island, searching for a slower way to live. And last year, I left the home and went to Australia. Without a clear plan, trying to stay soft inside a world that constantly asks you to be certain. This is a letter about pressure and about what happens when you think you are behind, but you are not. When you are a child, people ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? You answer freely, dancer, artist, maybe something impossible. I wanted to be a designer. People smile. They call it imagination. But at some point, the questions change. Now they expect certainty. Where will you live? What will you do for work? When will you buy a house? And what's your plan after all? And suddenly, not knowing doesn't feel curious anymore. It feels like you're falling behind. Pressure doesn't arrive all at once. It shows up quietly, inside ordinary questions. And before you noticed, you start measuring your life against timelines you never agreed to.
I met my husband when I was 17. We got married when I was 22, and 16 years later, when I was 33, we had our first baby. So you can imagine how often we've got this question, when you're gonna have a baby? Honestly, I wish we had started earlier, not out of fear, but because bringing new life into this world is so extraordinary. But surprisingly, no one actually tells you that. People mostly ask when, without any encouragement, without telling you about all the beauty of having a child. And of course, you will never feel ready. And this question followed us for years, from family, from friends, even from people who barely knew us. And I know it came from a good place, but when you hear it often enough, it starts living inside you. And of course, it was not the only question. There were questions about work, stability, where we would live, what we're gonna do, about whether we were doing the life right. But this baby question was kinda the loudest. And when enough questions pile up, they stop sounding like curiosity and they start feeling like pressure.
I don't think anyone truly expects you to have all the answers, but you expect yourself to, and that's where the pressure really begins. You start wondering if you are late, if you're missing something, if everyone else received instructions you somehow didn't. When outside expectations meet inner overthinking, it's exhausting. And honestly, no wonder so many people feel anxious, overwhelmed, or quietly unhappy. We're carrying timelines that were never designed for real human lives.
I'm so curious to know, you guys, what's the one pressure you're feeling right now? It doesn't have to be big, just something that's been sitting in your life quietly, if you feel like sharing just to let it out, I would love to read it in the comments.
At some point, I started asking a different question. Not am I behind, but who decided this schedule in the first place? Because life does not unfold in straight lines. It unfolds in seasons, in pauses, in changes of direction that only make sense later. When I stop fighting the timeline, something softens in me. I stop seeing certain seasons as waiting. They aren't empty, they're full of learning, full of becoming, full of things that don't look impressive from the outside, but matter so deeply on the inside. I'm not late, I'm not early, I'm exactly where my life is right now. I don't believe anymore that there is a right kind of age for life to begin. There's only the age you are when something becomes true for you. When I look back now, I don't see mistakes. I see timing that protected me, timing that taught me patience, timing that shaped a life that actually fits.
And if you're feeling behind right now, or pressured, or unsure if you're doing the right thing, if you're living your life correctly, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not late, you're not broken, you're not missing anything essential. You're just living a life that refuses to follow a simple timeline. And that doesn't make it wrong, it makes it human.
Honestly, I don't think life is meant to be lived on a schedule. I don't think we're late or early or behind. I think we're unfolding at different speeds, in different directions, with different lessons. Maybe the pressure years aren't something to escape. Maybe they're an invitation to slow down, to listen inward, and to trust that your life knows its own rhythm. You don't owe the world a schedule. You only owe yourself honesty.
Oh my god. I feel like pears are my favorite baking fruit. They're just so good and I can never achieve the same results with apples. I don't know why, but yeah, pears are just my favorite. I don't need to have everything figured out. I don't need to meet everyone else's timeline to know exactly where I'm meant to be. Some seasons are for building, some are for waiting, and some are for unlearning the pressure entirely. And maybe the real work is not catching up. Maybe it's staying present in the life that's already happening. And if you guys made it this far, congratulations, you're part of the 20% family, people who stayed, people who listen, and truly, thank you. If you want to let me know you are here, just drop a comment, 20% fam. I love seeing who stayed till the very end. You're definitely my favorite viewers. Thank you so much. If this letter feels familiar to you guys, you're not alone. And I also have another one about slowing down and finding home within you, even when the life around you is so uncertain. You're welcome there whenever you're ready.